Yeah, transport and logistic. You say 20, right? I'm pick 20. We're talking about the principles for marketing product and services. Right. Like we said, you as a marketer or a business person, guys, listen. Mamela Jonga Leisre. Right. You've been able to identify the needs. Right. The starting point is the need. That is the point of departure. The point of departure. Right. You must be able to identify the needs. Once you've identified the needs, then we talk about the wants. Needs expressed in product or services. What's wrong? Okay. Or you just want to amuse the class. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Eh, yeah. Guys, it starts from the needs. Don't forget. You see, every time I want to explain, I always go back to that. I want to make sure that that thing goes into your subconscious mind. Everything starts with the needs, right? You as a business person, or as a marketer, or as a transporter, right? Your responsibility is to satisfy the needs, right? The needs of people expressed in product or services, right? So, what you need to understand as well again is this. Once there is a demand, sit down quietly. Once there is that demand should be able or should be something that can be converted into transaction. Because when you got a business, you are not interested in what people want. You are interested in what people want that can be converted, that can be converted into transaction. You are there to make money, not for charity. You are not there to pay attention to the wishes of people. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are not there to pay attention to the wishes of people. You are there, you are concerned with people that can pay. Right. Okay. Now, you see, discovered, you've known their needs. Right. For you to be able to satisfy their needs, you need to play around in terms of how can you be able to entice these people. It's a competition. You need to entice them. It becomes much more competitive or precarious if the market is saturated. You know what I mean by saturated market? There are many buyers and sellers, like as you have in Maslow at the bottom. If you are operating there, right, that level is very competitive. Guys, listen. You know, I used to credit you for being disciplined learners from transport and logistics. Now you are behaving like management student. You must uphold that discipline, right? You are very disciplined. But today it's otherwise. Please accept, please. Right. Now you need to look for ways to satisfy the identified needs. Right. So you need to look for strategies. We call it marketing strategies. In other words, we call it marketing mix. Right. Let me give you a very good example, right? That can make you to be able to understand this. For example, right? Let's say I want to give example of what I experienced those days, where I'm coming from. When I was studying those days at tertiary level, right, varsity, there was only one girl in my class. One girl in my class. Girl, a female. There was only one female in my class. We were 16 in the class. Only one female. I'm gonna tell you later. Right, when I was young like you, at the age of 16, when I started, at 16, there, 17, you must be at varsity. Now, now we were small, only one girl, 15 boys in that class. Did you see? Smart girl. For you to be able to, if you want that girl to be your girlfriend, hey, it was a very stiff competition. Stiff competition. Did you see? You must, you must have this. You must be able to dress nicely. You have those, huh? You have those. No, I couldn't because I couldn't compete. Did Why? You see? Huh? Why? Yeah, because of my status that time. Did you see what I mean? The competition was very stiff for that girl to even smile to you. she was no, she couldn't smile. She don't smile to anyone. Yeah. Do you understand what I mean? The competition was very tough. But when you go to school of business, school of business, school of business, they got girls and they dress nicely. You see, but we were roasting like our side was in the desert, right? Because the competition was very tough. When those ones they said they got girlfriend, but we don't have. You see, so what I'm trying to say is this: in an environment where you have a product, see, one stuff that is scarce, you must fight hard for you to be able to get hold of that product. So what I'm trying to say now, in essence, is this: let's unpack it in relation to business now. When you've got a business, the business environment is very competitive. You need to apply strategies for you to be able to get the business. Like as I said, in the class, guys were doing by all means to get hold of this only girl in the class. But it was not easy. The guy that was able to get hold, that was going out with the girl that time in our class, was the guy that was able to survive, to beat the competition. You see what I'm trying to say? That is the same thing in business. You look at their needs, you must devise means of satisfying the needs. It becomes much more serious if you are not the only one providing such service. You must be able to distinguish yourself. You must be able to convince them, persuade them, remind them. It's not easy because you work hard for your money, right? Why must you buy this from me at a certain price if you can buy it at a cheaper price from somewhere? I need to convince you. Did you see what I mean? Right? I need to convince you. What am I going to do to convince you? Is based on your offerings. You apply what we call marketing strategy. That is the 4 P's we are talking about. Does it make sense to you? Every business is making use of 4 P's. There is no business in the world, whether in South Africa, multinational, go to US, United States, Japan, everywhere, they make use of these 4 P's. You play around with it. If you don't make use of it, your business will fail. It will collapse. It's been tested. You must make use of the 4 P's. Younger. Your product, you must be mindful of your product. Must be able to satisfy the needs of your target market. You know what I mean by target market? The ones that you intend to to sell your product to. Right? You look at them, oh, you profile them, right? My target market, they don't have so much money, right? How can I bring it, make a product that they can be able to afford? Let me tell you the market, the business model of the Chinese. The Chinese, they got the best business model in the whole world. Even the Americans, they are so. It's a big surprise of the Americans. They beat the Americans, the Europeans, in terms of their business model. These 4 P's, they use it. They use it wisely. Not any, they use it wisely to be core. I will give you a simple example. When you look at Chinese product, people say it's Hong Kong, right? We always ascribe Chinese product to be fake, right or wrong? Yeah. You see, let me tell you why it's like that. Chinese, they differentiate their products in such a way that even if you are poor, you can at least have a feel of it. You can make use of it. They grade their product. You know, grading. Grade A, grade B, grade C. Right? Okay. When you want a product, they will ask you what grade did you want? You want grade A? Each of the grade got different prices. If you want grade A original, they will tell you the price. They make it for you. You pay for it. If you want the least grade, they're gonna make it like grade A, but the quality is not gonna be the same. Exactly gonna look alike, right? But in terms of the quality, it's not gonna last for you. That is how the Chinese. But the Europeans and the Americans, they don't do business like that, right? If it is grade A, it's grade A. They don't believe in having the lower grade, right? But Chinese, they are very clever. They study people needs. They discover that there are certain people they need something but they cannot afford, right? What do we do to this type of people? Do we put them aside? No. Let's make it inclusivity. Even if it's one day that thing is going to serve them, at least they will have a taste of it. That is the business model of Chinese. Right. You can see a nice shirt, quality grade A. You will see grade E, it looks the same. Right? Exactly the same thing. But in terms of the lifespan, the quality, they are not the same. I remember there was a time I experienced this myself, right? I had wanted to import flash drive. You know what is flash drive? You guys don't know anything about flash drive these days. Flash drive, you know? Yeah, USB. Right. There is a USB. Hello, hello. USB used to be 256 megabyte. Imagine that megabyte. Even your photo, if you snap a photo now, it's more than 256. You know, we started with floppy disk. Floppy disk was even, is it not 256 megabyte? Where we are coming from is far. 256. Then we had 1 gig flash drive. That was the most highest capacity that 1 gig. We call it Kingston. You know Kingston flash drive. People were buying Kingston, you know. I wanted to import from China because I was Then I had an internet cafe. I was selling flash drive. Yeah, I had my business, God. Yeah. So I went, I made contact with a Chinese manufacturer of kissing. You know what they told me? They asked me, which type do you want? Do you want the original one or generic? I was a bit pullback. Generic? What do you mean by generic? They say, okay, I will explain to you. Generic, it goes like this. It's not the same price like the original, but the name kissed everything. Physically, the outlook is this. But the difference is that that generic they can write is 1 gig, right? They put when you plug the device to your machine, you're gonna read is 1 gig. But in the real sense of it, it's not 1 gig, it's less. You will just put some, save some few stuff is full. The price was not the same. So if I buy that, right? If I want that, I can pay for that. Then I can sell it like 1 gig to make money. I said, no, I don't do business like that. You understand what I mean? But what am I trying to prove to you now? Okay, if I had bought that, maybe where they are selling Kistin was being sold 100 rand that time. Then let's say the price I'm buying that one from China, the generic wasn't so high. Then I can be selling the same Kistin maybe 50 rand. Did you see? You that doesn't have money to pay for that 100 rand, you buy 50 rand, even if it's only a few stuff you can save. But at least you got Kistin. You see? That is the business model of the Chinese. Right? When you look all over the world, I will even encourage people personally to go to China and study their business model. It's wonderful. Because when you look all over the world, the Chinese economy, there was a time the economy was growing at a double digit. I will explain to you what I mean. The economy, the GDP, right, was growing double digit means as from 10, right? 10, 11. Single digit is less than 10, right? The world economy was growing at 3%, 3 to 4%. Chinese economy was reading 10. The first year, they say it's a lie. No economy in the world can grow like that. It happened, they investigated, it was true. The second year, it was true. The third year, it was true. Let me tell you, you know the growth rate forecast of South Africa is 1 comma something. Can you compare 1,5 to 10%? It's not the same. So what I'm trying to say, I don't want to talk too much about the Chinese because otherwise I'm gonna use more than a month to be talking about Chinese, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is Chinese is using this strategy, right? This 4 P's we are talking about. They take their product, they break it down in such a way that people can afford, right? It's exactly what we are doing here. You look at Coca-Cola, right? You got 2 liters bottle. You got, is it 2 liters? You got 1,5, right? You got smaller bottle. Just like what happened to me yesterday, I quickly reflected my mind back to what I was teaching you in the class. I was hungry, right? I didn't want to buy food to eat because I was almost close to home now. Because what if my wife cook food I can't eat? Then it's gonna cause a big problem in the house. Where did you eat? You know all those type of stuff. Right. So I didn't want to eat. Then I bought 1,5 liter of water. Right. As I was buying it, then another person came to buy 500. Then I quickly reflected my mind back to what I'm teaching you. I was tasting, right? I bought a family because when I was buying it, I had a belief that the view that I can take it home, I share with my family, right? Okay. When you look at it, that 1.5 liter, the price was relatively more cheaper than a small one, which was 500. Now, somebody came in, he bought a small bottle. I said, you see, this one was tasty, right? He wanted to buy for himself. He bought that small bottle, he went away. Then I was asking myself, if that small one was not there now, perhaps that person doesn't have money to buy a bigger one. What could have been the mood of that guy? He's gonna be dissatisfied. The product will not be sold. So he got the needs to buy one, just a small one. He bought his, right? His needs perhaps was satisfied. Then I bought a bigger one, right? When you look at the price relatively, it was cheaper than that small one because that small one is about 8 rand or 9 rand something. 1.5 is about 18 rand, average. Then I drank the whole of my water, 1.5, to quench my thirst. So those are the things we are talking about. When you design your product, you must be able to offer different sizes, right? To satisfy different wants or different needs of people. That is what we were reading yesterday. That when you look at Coca-Cola, you got small bottle, you got family size and all those stuff, right? If you are offering a product in the market, you don't consider different scenarios, different needs, you are going to have a big problem. So you must distinguish your product in such a way that you are able to satisfy the needs of different people. You got different needs, right? You got family needs. You want to organize for your family. Will you be buying small bottle, small thing like this? Let's say you got 10 families, 10 members of your family. You want to buy, what is this, Sprite or whatever, what they call it? Stony. Will you be buying thing like this? Because if you see the price of this, you multiply it by 10. It's a lot of money, right? For family needs, you buy a very big bottle, 2 liters, right? You can buy two. You save money. Does it make sense to you? Right. So if there were no 2 liters, people that got that family need, what is gonna do? If there is another product that got that they feel will be able to satisfy their needs, they will not gonna buy your product. They will rather go for that. So for you to be able to compete, you must make sure that you are able to satisfy the various needs of your target market by distinguishing your product, providing to them three different sizes, right? That they can be able to that satisfy their needs. Does it make sense to you? Right. That is what we said there. Okay. Then the price is the same thing, right? You give them product that they can be able to afford. I told you before, I gave you this example of Celsius, right? MTN was 30 rand, Vodacom was 29 rand. We couldn't afford when they gave the opportunity to Celsius to have a license. By the time they got their license, they introduced airtime for 5 rand. Now people were saying, yeah, can afford 5 rand airtime. People switched from Vodacom made MTN to Celsius. Now, when Vodacom and MTN discover that the competition is getting tougher, a lot of people are switching to Celsius. They say we're forced to introduce a smaller unit, 15 rand for MTN and 12 rand for Vodacom. That was how it started, right? To be able to satisfy the various needs. Because there are certain people, they don't have the money or they had no money to pay for 10 rand, for 29 rand and 30 rand. Right? Personally, like me, that time I didn't have a job. So how can you expect somebody to pay 29 rand for Vodacom, 30 rand? And the way it was that time, it was very expensive. Like I told you, once you just say hello, the airtime is finished. The only people that were enjoying phone that time was people on contract, maybe your company. I remember there was a lady who was studying together those days. She was working as well. So she was working with a very nice company and she had a phone contract. That one can phone you anyhow, even on the self, on landline and whatever. Those were the only people that were enjoying. Okay. So as we have here, I think one of you, I don't want to be reading everything by myself. You must assist me now, right? So let's read. Do you understand very well the one for product and the price? Product and price. Okay. Now the place. What are we trying to say? You read. Who can read? 2.3.3 place. Oh, your book. I'm sorry, man. I forgot about it. You still have some traces here. Traces of kudri. You couldn't get the tissue paper. Don't worry. I must tomorrow I will put a tissue. Let me see if I don't have something. 2.3.3. Who can read? There you go. Yeah. Okay. Right. 2.3.3. Place. Who's gonna read now? Who's going to read? You read. Gali, take it. You read. Can you read? I've got a principal those days. You're gonna a teacher. I say, can you read? When you say, oh, you can't read, I know you can read, right? Read. You know where we are? Page 20. I think I want to move fast now. 20. Distribution or making sure that the product is close to the customer is another important facet of the marketing mix. Yeah. Comparators. Okay. You see, that is why I must tell you to read so that you get used to it. Right. Okay. Just let me unpack that meanwhile. Wait. Guys, one thing is to have good product or needs satisfying product. Another thing is for your product to be where your customers are or where the needs are. Do you understand what I mean? For example, if I have a company I'm producing something or product, if I don't, let's say my target market is in Atlantis, right? Where I'm making it is in perhaps in Table View. I need to bring my product to my target market. You need to distribute it. Otherwise, you will sit with your product. Nobody gonna come to your place. Most especially if it's a far place. You could see product you are using here now. Younger, look at this. Without any doubt, most probably this product is from China, right? All the way from China. The factory that produced this maybe is in Ningbo or whatever, but I don't even know where the factory is, right? These things have to be distributed from where they were manufactured to where we are now. Today, I'm one of the end user of the product. So it has to be distributed. That is part of a strategy, marketing means of a place. Right. Okay. Continue. Distributing products. Start from that. No register. Wait. This is very profound. You see, if your product cannot reach your customers, it defines the thin line between a business that is successful and unsuccessful. And it's true. If your product cannot reach your customers, that means your product will not be sold. So one of the reasons that Coca-Cola is one of the world's biggest cold drink companies is the fact that it is distributed widely. You got a wide range of distribution. That is why anywhere you go, you see Coca-Cola, and they got big market. You see, if you making ukomboti, you are making it at home. If it's not distributed widely, the people that will be consuming your ukomboti are people within your area there. So if you can distribute it to people in Joburg, right, or in Limpopo or Northwest, then you see that your business will grow. Does it make sense to you? Right. Then we said you will find Coca-Cola in every country in the world. So place is another important marketing piece that can be utilized for a business to be successful. Right. Okay. Let me add to this. Here, I want to add what we call accessibility. Where your business is located must be accessible. Because here they are only talking about distribution. You taking your product from where it's being manufactured to where it's going to be sold. Right? What about in a situation where you don't need to distribute your product? Here we can talk about accessibility in terms of ease of access of your customers to your product, to where your product are. Right. For example, you remember the example I gave to you about Maguian, right? You got your Maguian, right? You are making Maguian. Where you are making it or where you are selling it, if somebody doesn't know, cannot come there, will you be able to sell? You won't. Let me give you another typical example. I always like to give this example to my students. There was a time, those days, I was driving along Woodstock. You know Woodstock? How many of you know Woodstock here? You know Woodstock, right? I was driving with my sweetheart, right? Now, all of a sudden, she saw a dress. She said she liked that dress, right? She had wanted me to look for a place to park for her because she always like to buy unique stuff. She don't like buying this massive production like all this from Woolworth where you put it on. You see a lot of people they have all those type of stuff. She doesn't like it. She like unique, something unique. Then she had wanted to buy it. I was looking for a place to stop so that we could have access to where the cloth was being sold. We couldn't have a place. So what happened now? What I'm trying to tell you, the person who lost that business. You see, because where the business was not accessible. So if that business was to be in the park or in an area whereby there is a car park and all those type of stuff, we could have just easily go there, we drive in, then we buy the stuff. So accessibility to where your product is very, very important, right? So that is another thing that we could add to this factor of place. Right, we still have 10 minutes now. Huh? Five. Okay, promotion. What can you talk about promotion? Promotion, there are a lot of stuff we can talk about here. A lot of stuff. You must go out there to create awareness of your product. You must take, Vuvuzela. How many of you know Vuvuzela? You must take Vuvuzela and blow your trumpet. I've got this for sale. You must go there and convince people, right? You must go there and persuade them. Persuasion. People need to be persuaded to buy your product. Most especially if it's a new product. People don't know anything about it. You need to remind them how your product is gonna meet their needs. You keep on reminding them. You got this type of need. This is how my product gonna help you. You see, that is promotion, right? You need to do that. Okay, you read promotion. The fourth P, right? Start from there. Promotional activities. Did you see? Advertisement. You advertise. Those days, we used to advertise by giving out flyers. You know, flyers. You young generation, the Gen Z, you don't know about flyers, right? Because these days you use social media, WhatsApp, Facebook. Yeah, that is what you are using these days, right? TikTok, you know you can advertise via TikTok. She said, she respond now. I thought she's sleeping. I cannot. That means she's listening, right? You can advertise through TikTok, right? You need to advertise to create that awareness. That is what we are talking about in terms of promotion. You must promote your business. You know why TikTok is not here? Maybe when they wrote this book a long time ago, they don't know about TikTok, right? Press articles, or you can sponsorship. For example, if I've got a business, right? I want to create awareness of my business. I can come to West Coast College, right? Give a kind of scholarship. I say the best student in transport and logistics, 100 rand every year. No matter how little that money is, every year, student of transport and logistics will know about my business. True of us. You see, you don't even need a lot of money to do that. You just set up a foundation for, say, the best student in transport and logistics level 2 every year, 200 rand. Every year, the student gonna know. When they go home, they're gonna tell their parents about my business. We got a sponsorship. We got an award from such company. You see, those type of stuff. Right. Then brochures. You know brochures. How many of you have seen brochures before? Pamphlet. You use it to advertise. Yeah, personal selling. Hello. Personal selling. You can use personal selling. What is personal selling? You move to door or phone, you contact people direct. That is personal selling. Or you go move from door to door to sell or to advertise. That is personal selling. It's a promotion, right? You got a kind of promotion again, which you know of very well, whereby you discount the product, right? 50% off. Then people gonna be running rat race. Everybody wants to buy the product. It's a kind of promotion as well, right? Okay, guys, let's stop here. So far, so good. Let's stop here. I haven't got your register yet. I'm gonna go and get it. Huh?